It is the first week of August, and I think it's like 60 degrees outside. It's been in the high 90s, which I'm sure, like for most of you, it's been hot where you're at too. And this week is just beautiful. We have not spent much time outside. I actually planned last week to show you guys a full garden update, but I just couldn't do it. It was too hot. So I'm going to go out this morning and I'm going to spend quite a bit of time out here. And I want to show you guys just the current state of everything. Andrew fertilized like 2 days ago, so things should be looking pretty good. But I know I need to water, I need to harvest. I've got some pruning to do, and pests always pests are so bad this summer. But I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they're like calling it on their summer gardens, and we are not. So I kind of want to show you guys where we're at and what we've got going on. The animals are freaking out because it is very early and they haven't eaten yet. It's like 6:30. So I'm going to feed them first and then we're going to go into the garden. Let's go ahead and get started. My absolute favorite tool for the summer is this little handheld vacuum. So we don't use pesticides in our garden. It's just not something that we want to do. But this year is wild. It is super crazy with the pests. Japanese beetles, aphids, squash bugs, cucumber beetles, just literally everything. And so our favorite tool this year has been this little vacuum because it is fantastic to just suck everything up off of the plants, and then we just dump it in a little soapy water. But it's just way easier than trying to like catch them or knock them off in a bucket directly. It's been a game changer. So I'm going to take this outside. I also have a basket for harvesting because we definitely have a lot we need to harvest. I haven't in a few days. So I'm going to get out there now. I just fed and watered the turkeys in here. So we do have 4 turkeys. Let me show you guys their little brooder. They're getting kicked out literally this week. So we have these 4 that we hatched from eggs. They are big enough to go outside, so they will head out next week. Those are the 4 that we hatched out in the incubator. So they're going outside this week. They're officially big enough, but I fed and watered them. And I'm just loading up my little wagon here so I can feed everybody else. I'm going to get that done real quick. Realistically, I would say that for the last 2 weeks or so, it has been over 90 degrees almost every single day. We've gotten up to like 97 with the feels like well over 100. And so yesterday and today and the next couple of days, it's going to be in the 80s. We do have 90s on the 10-day, but it's okay. I'm going to get out here today while I can because it's not so bad. But the reason I'm saying all this is it's probably looking a little rough out here. Probably got quite a few pests to battle. So I guess I'm like warning us both to be prepared for what we're going to see out here. These turkeys are very ready to get out. So I'm going to go open their little aviary and let them have some breakfast. Good morning. Like. Morning. Got a beautiful clean turkey egg to take inside this morning. All right, let me let the chickens out. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good job. Good morning. We have the chickens on an automatic door, but it doesn't open up for another hour. So I figured come out and get them out and get them some fresh food here. We get their food from the MFA here locally. We just do like 5-gallon buckets and bring it out and feed them. Okay, I got the chickens I got the chickens and turkeys fed. I'll come back with their water. I'm going to go feed Gail and Dewey though, because Gail is making too much noise for this early. So I'm going to take her food over so she will be quiet. So this used to be our meat tractor. We used to put our Cornish in here, and now we have our babies in here that we just hatched out for our chickens. We did the turkeys after we did the chickens, so these guys are just literally a couple weeks older. I think these are, gosh, I'd have to look and see how old they are, but they're not very old. I would say just a couple months. They're real small still. So we move them every day or so in the tractor around, and then in the next few weeks, once they get too big for this, we'll move them out into a proper coop. But for now, it's great just to let them graze and, you know, take up this tractor so it's not going to waste. And then once these guys move into formal coop, the turkeys that are in the garage, the 4, will come out here, and then we'll just keep that rotation. So yeah, I'm just gonna water everybody else real quick, and then I'll meet you guys in the garden. Everyone has been fed and watered, so it's nice and peaceful now. It's a little past 7. Before we go into the actual garden, I'm hoping to start on a little bit of a high because the garden looks a little depressing, I'm not gonna lie. So we're gonna start and go look at the fruit trees because Andrew and I found our first figs the other day. So I'm gonna go see if they're still on there. Let's go check. So these are our fruit trees and the sunrise this morning. We have this beautiful cherry tree here in the front, and as you can see kind of down at the bottom, this is our volunteer pumpkins. So last fall, we put a pumpkin at the base of all the trees and just let them decompose. And this is the one that we decided to let, you know, do its thing here. And I just want to show you guys our 2 pumpkins we got. Super exciting. I'll kind of show you the size here, like decent size. But yeah, so we got 2 pumpkins, and so that's our cherry tree. We have, that's our peach tree in the back, our fig over there we're going to go check out. That's our apple in front of it. And then this is another cherry tree right here in Sweet Oswald. Let's go check out this fig. Our cherry trees took a beating this year from the Japanese beetles, but they're not producing yet, so we'll deal with it next year. But yeah, they definitely took a beating. Oh yes, we have figs. Let me show you guys. Look at that. See right there? We have figs on our fig tree. This is so great. There's another one right there. This guy died, you know, all the way down last year, and he is coming back. His name is Freddy, after Freddy Cougar. He actually has, let me show you. The front here, he has his little Freddy Cougar figurine in the front, but he's doing really good. And then that's our peach tree over there, doing really great as well. Well, that is really exciting to see those figs on there to start. We're gonna head over into the outside garden and see just kind of how things are going, and hopefully it's doing okay. I need to water everything, but I'm going to do that at the end because I need to prune and stuff, and it's already pretty damp out here, and I hate touching wet leaves. So I just want to show you guys, I want to start over by our shed beds. That's what we call the 2 beds on both sides of the shed. They're 2 of my favorite beds right now because they're all ornamental, but I want to show you how beautiful they are and show you the sunflowers. I'm really proud of those. So this is shed bed number 1. Kind of show you guys all the way up there. Huge sunflowers. The shed is 9 feet tall, so if that gives you any idea how tall these sunflowers are, they're probably like 13 feet up there. But we have our African marigolds in here. There's some celosia, petunias, there's azaleas and hydrangeas hidden in there for next year. But yeah, just a beautiful bed. I love this bed so much, and I love that the sunflowers are finally coming out. And then on this side, this shed bed, we didn't do any sunflowers, but we did more marigolds, and they have taken off. I've had a few of you guys send me pictures of the marigolds that we shared with you, and it makes me so happy to know that you guys are growing them. But we have quite a few marigolds in here. You can see more of those petunias, and our hydrangeas are actually doing really well in this bed. It gets a little more shade. It's not as harsh sun over here, so they're doing really well. But yeah, just another really pretty ornamental bed. And it's funny, if you kind of look up above the shed here, you can see how tall those sunflowers are. Just so impressive. I love them so much. Okay, I'm literally playing the ultimate game of avoidance to go deal with this, because I can see this zucchini plant right here is dead. I can tell from here. I also have a sunflower up here that's like fallen over, so I can just tell it's gonna be a good time. Okay, let's go see how bad it is. I want to show you guys really quick before I jump in here kind of a current state of everything. It is very overgrown. There's a lot of dead in there, a lot of bugs. So I'm going to jump in and get started. I'm going to start up here at these front beds because I definitely have a few dead plants and some tomatoes that need to be trellised. I think I'm just going to create a big pile. So I have a dead radish. Lantanas are doing good. So if you watched my last video in the greenhouse, you guys know I am a huge fan of cutting a bunch of leaves off of my plants. If there is dead anywhere, I want to cut it off. So that's what I'm going through now, and just trimming off anything that's dead, anything that's been bitten to pieces, and clearing that out so I can make sure everything's doing good in here. I'm gonna harvest all these tomatoes in here really quick as well, because we've been getting quite a bit of blossom rot from the weather, and so I want to get all these out while they're looking good. So we want to preserve as much as we can this season. I'm like always terrified I'm gonna reach in here and squish a hornworm with my fingers. It's like ultimate fear for me. I hate them. Ugh. I'll show you guys though here. Adjust the camera so you can see what I found here. If you've been checking your garden, I'm sure you're used to seeing that. But eggs, get them out of the bed. Yeah, if I can make any suggestion, it would be pest maintenance every day. Like, honestly, pest maintenance over watering every day. If you know it's a bad season like it is this season, I come out and you want to at least check for those eggs, check for live bugs, and get rid of them. You know what skipping watering does to your garden. I'm sure you've, missed some days with watering, and so the pests are just as bad. So that's usually the biggest thing I say is, pest maintenance is just as important as watering. And honestly, you could skip one day and a few hornworms could decimate a whole bed. So I just think it's super important. So I'm going to get off my high horse there. I got the tomatoes out of this bed. I cleaned it up a little bit. I'm going to move on to the other beds before I water. I'll just water everything at the end. I'm going to move on to this next one because I think we are going to take out that entire zucchini plant. Yeah, this bed is suffering. I'm going to just call it on this zucchini plant. At this point, it's just going to bring pests, and it's not worth it. So, call it on it. Ugh. Jeez. I'm just going to go put this in compost. Okay. Man. Like, knocked its lights off and everything. Okay. Much better. So yeah, hydrangea needs to get cut back. So we got these hydrangeas. Andrew got them from work, and I tell you what, they are resilient little buggers. You can cut them back mid-season, and they just keep coming back. They're doing really good. So there is still some life in this bed. You can see we've got this butternut squash here that's doing okay. These petunias are pretty dried out, and the zinnia plant is struggling. But I got quite a few tomatoes off of the Roma and the San Marzano plants. There's still some growing on there that are green. And we do have a few sunflowers that have bloomed over here. They're really pretty, and I love having them. I'm going to show you this one at the front. We also have a loofah plant in here. you can see the little loofah flower right here. So there is a loofah plant that is growing up in these sunflowers as well, which is kind of crazy. Let me show you this one sunflower we have. Let's see if I can get it. It's just beautiful. So I harvested these beds out and we got rid of some of the dead. And I'm going to move on to our first pepper bed over here. We have so much to harvest in this bed. I also was thinking I might do some bouquets for the house because we have some beautiful flowers that are ready to go. And we are going to jump into this bed. It is so full of peppers and get harvesting. I didn't really prepare today. Like, I knew I was going to come out and harvest, but I should have brought 2 baskets because the peppers get crazy with how many peppers we have in here. A little red shishito. I haven't seen one of those yet. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to start harvesting. In this bed, I have ancho peppers, I have shishitos, jalapenos, a few different types of bell peppers, Hungarian wax peppers. I think there are probably, let's count actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's about 12 pepper plants in this bed. It's a 8x4 bed. And then we also have ornamental plants. We have different types of celosia. We have the bouquet style, a few different types. We also have actually a few different colors too. We have marigolds in here. It's a very full bed. You know, we don't really believe in garden spacing. It's just not something that matters to us. Yes, there are perks to being really intentional and making sure that everything has the room it needs to grow. Usually pest maintenance is easier. Also disease is less because you're not having leaves on top of each other that are creating moisture and mold, creating bacteria. But I want to produce as much as possible. So we shove our beds full every time of different varieties of peppers and tomatoes and beets and, you know, beans and a variety of things. And we always do ornamentals in every single bed. So we always have flowers in every single one of our beds, no matter what we're growing in it. So I'm gonna keep picking here. And I will touch base with you guys in a minute once I get everything off. That is good for now. So, show you guys there. I barely even like scratch the surface of how many peppers there's still on this plant, but it's a start. So I got those harvested. So on the side here of this bed, you can see we have a loofah growing. This plant took a beating from the weather. It's so bad, but you know, it's still surviving. So that one's good. And then I wanted to show you guys this bed. This is like a kind of cautionary tale I wanted to share. So this bed, we did not plant a single marigold or tomato plant. But I just wanted to kind of show you. You can see all those red cherry tomatoes in there. This ground, you can see it's pretty gross under here. That's because Andrew had to rip out all of these huge marigolds that grew in here. Yeah, all the cherry tomatoes were kind of out of control. I'm going to go in and harvest as many as I can because they're free cherry tomatoes, but just wanted to advise you guys, be cautious where you plant your cherry tomatoes and marigolds because they are worse than mint. They will take over. I literally hate harvesting out of this bed because I know I'm touching worms. Like, I know I am rubbing elbows with hornworms. Because they're definitely in here. I just can't see them. I hate it. I hate knowing they're in here. And I hate touching a tomato that I know they crunched on. Like, you'll go to put your hand on it and then it's got a hole in the back and you're like, ugh. I literally just put my finger where your nasty little mouth was. But it is wild how many cherry tomatoes we've gotten out of this bed for not planting any. And then these beautiful African marigolds as well. But I'm just going to get a few of these cherry tomatoes for a salad later. We 100% could have gotten ahead of this. Obviously, too, these plants aren't this big overnight. This is from us just avoiding it. As they were coming in, we could have pruned them back and done it, but we just didn't really have the time. And now we have overgrown bed of cherry tomatoes. I decided to keep going down the line here, and we're just going to go right into our most infested bed. This is our squash and bean bed. It is infested with good things and bad things. So right as I walk up, I mean, you can hear the bees in it. They're going crazy, which is great. But I have a bunch of eggs from unwanted characters. Let me show you guys real quick. Again, right there, those eggs. Yuck. Hate them. So I'm just gonna cut any out, make a pile, and I think I do! We just planted these squash a few weeks ago, but I've already got some coming in, which is really exciting, so I'm gonna harvest as well. In this bed, we did the crooked neck yellow squash variety, and then multiple beans. There's black beans, lima beans, green beans. It is bean bonanza in here, so I'm really excited to see what we get from that. But what I'm doing right now, not trying to bother the bees, but I am just turning over all of these squash leaves, because on the bottom usually, if they're not being extremely bold, is where you'll find all of those eggs. I'm going to cut off what I find and make a pile. Squash are pretty prolific. They do a good job, so you can cut off a good amount of their leaves that have eggs on them, and they will do just fine. Everyone has a different method. Some people will, oh sorry bees, some people will literally, oh no, there's a bee stuck in this spider web. Absolutely not. Did I save you? Yes, let's go. I think I saved him. Good. Sorry, there was a bee in that spider web. So some people with the eggs, when they find the leaves, they will burn them. I've seen people burn them. I've seen people like rub them off. But for us, literally just cut the stupid leaf and call it. The plant will grow more leaves and it'll be fine. I will say the one thing I'm really happy about as I'm looking in here is the amount of bees, but also the lack of adult bugs. Like bad bugs. I am seeing eggs, obviously, but there are not a tremendous amount of adult bad bugs, like aphids or squash bugs. I'm not actually seeing adults in here, which is pretty good. I'm looking, that's a good thing. I could have sworn we had another squash over here somewhere. Oh yeah, right here. I really don't want to bug the bees, so I think I'm done. I got a few leaves out with eggs on them. I think I'm done on this bed, and we're going to move on to our first tomato bed. We decided to do our tomato beds exactly like last year. We did the kind of hoop trellis here for them, and it has been fantastic. They get pretty heavy, so we did actually have to tie the right end to a T-post to kind of like hold this up, but it is doing pretty good. The heat slowed down production for sure. We had a lot of green tomatoes on here, but we weren't getting anything turning. It was just too hot. But now over the last couple of days, because we're getting a little bit of reprieve, we're starting to see some red tomatoes come in. So I'm going to harvest really quick. I also have this like basil that's gotten out of control. So I'm going to harvest and then cut all this disease dead leaves out, because there's a lot in this bed. Ew, there's a huge hornworm. Very fat ass hornworm up there. I'm gonna get him. So I want to show you guys here. This is the hornworm. It's a big one. They start really small and they start at the base of the plants and they'll crawl up. They're really tiny. But that's what he looks like. And this is kind of what you can expect your plants to look like, kind of chewed off. And then you'll see like these black dollops of poop, and they kind of look like little grenades. But yeah, this is what they look like. So he is gone, and I'm going to jump back in and cut down some of these dead leaves and harvest this basil. I'm shocked at how much late season basil we're getting, but I'll take it. So some people will tell you to get rid of all of your suckers, and that's fine. You can do that if you want. We don't personally. Kind of in the beginning, we'll work to get rid of some, but once the plants are established, we don't really care anymore, because what we'll do is we'll just simply let the suckers grow up into the top of the plant. Will grow through the trellis and hold themselves up, and it's not a big deal. Yeah, and again, you know, we're not huge on spacing rules, so there are quite a few plants in here that does cause disease, but that's why we try to go through and cut any of the dead out, so that way these leaves don't touch each other. My goal when I kind of come out here for this is just to get everything up, get everything lifted, get everything separated, get rid of hornworms. I see another one. Ew, he's so big. I hate it so much. That disgusting fat hornworm. Yeah, Andrew says I just have like an eye for them. I'm good at finding them. I just hate them. Oh, I hate them. Okay, I feel better. So that's a start. I got a couple hornworms gone. I harvested basil, tomatoes. We cleaned out some of the dead plants in here. I'm going to move on and finish with our other tomato and our other pepper bed, and then I'm going to jump into watering. I wanted to show you guys, so we have our trellis here. We always do the cattle panels on top of the beds because you can just remove them if you don't need them. But I want to show you off to the side here. This bed got so heavy that it actually fell over. And so we had to string it up a little bit to a T-post off to the side. We actually had to do it for both beds. I'm going to go ahead and get in here and harvest as much as I can. This bed is probably going to have some more to cut out than the other one. We just picked this one up. It had fallen over a few days ago, so it just got picked up a bit, and it's going to have a lot of dead and disease from just laying on itself for like a week or two. So I'm going to have quite a bit to get out of here, so I'm going to get at it. A couple other things that I have noticed about hornworms that I wanted you guys to know. Look for their poop. Like I said, looks like those little grenades, but look for the poop and then look up. So they poop where they're at and it just kind of drops down, and they're always trying to get high. So I'll kind of follow. If I see some droppings, I'll look my way up, and then that's usually how I'll find one at the top, is by following that trail. So just keep an eye out for that. And for anyone watching who's thinking, oh my God, she's going to kill her plants, she's cutting too much off, I promise I'm not. If it's dead, it's not doing anything for the plant. And so by me cutting it off, I'm removing disease. I'm removing any chance of, things being able to spread easily. It also helps things like the hornworms not be able to pass through as easy because they can't touch each other. And the plant will be happier for it, and it'll send its nutrients where it needs to grow, which is to produce more tomatoes, because we have not gotten enough yet for the season, that is for sure. We still have quite a ways to go. So yeah, you can see not as much of a harvest, just because everything's been really slowed down between the heat and it being fallen over. So I'm hoping now that it's up and we cleaned everything out, I'm going to give it a good water, and then Andrew fertilized day before yesterday, that we're going to get quite a bit more harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and start watering, I think. So I wanted to talk peppers a little bit with you guys. We have 2 pepper beds out here. The one I showed you before that I harvested, that one has a lot of like our smaller peppers. It has shishitos and jalapenos, Hungarian wax, and this one has a lot of bell peppers. So this one has a lot of bell peppers. It also has Anaheim peppers in it. But to us, peppers are just as important as like tomatoes, for example. Those are probably our two most important crops that we grow. And if you need to feel good about yourself, especially if you live in a warmer climate, grow peppers. They are so prolific. Each plant will give you dozens of peppers on it. You know, and the smaller the pepper, the more you'll get. So like our shishitos, we always get so many peppers off of our shishito plants. So I always recommend shishitos. They're a great snacker. And then if you want something a little bit spicier, jalapeno is great, just because of how many peppers you have. My dad is in Florida and he's growing one jalapeno plant, and he said his one plant has given him dozens and dozens of peppers off of it, more than he needs. He's made sauces and, you know, dried them and turned them into powders and eaten them fresh, just all kinds of stuff. But yeah, peppers are far and away one of my favorite things to grow. I was just watering and realized I never showed you guys our final chaos beds we have. So this is another bed. We did not plant any cherry tomatoes in this bed. They are all volunteer, but we did try to trellis this one up a little bit. We tried to be a little more intentional. And so we have way less pests in here. We're having way less issues, and we're actually getting a nice little harvest out of this bed. So I'm going to go through and harvest all these cherry tomatoes, look for some worms, because I'm sure there's still some in here, and then water this bed. And then our last bed here, it's starting to look a little rough, but we just had the most beautiful zinnias in this bed. And then it was mostly butternut squash. You can kind of see we still have quite a few growing in here. This one is almost ready. So we have these in here growing. This has been nothing but a pest-ridden bed, but that's okay. It is almost done. We're going to try and get a few more of these squash out of here. And then I think I am actually going to harvest some of those flowers and make some bouquets for the house today. We still have our sweet potatoes here in the grow bags. You know, they're doing okay. They're not great, but they're doing okay. They're trying their best. So yeah, that's pretty much it out here. It's some, you know, beautiful beds that are still doing really well, and then some that are definitely on the end. Our plan is to come back out later this afternoon, and I think we're going to go ahead and fill up any of the beds that aren't full with our fall garden items. I think we're going to get a head start and focus on our third biggest crop, which for the fall over, you know, into the spring is going to be beets. We love beets. We eat so many of them. So I think we're going to throw some beet seeds down, and then we probably will do more beans. That's another one that we'll try to keep a lot of, and just basically keep things going. You know, we have probably 4 or 5 beds that are half empty, you know, from plants that we've pulled out from disease or pests. So it's time to keep that going. You know, I find that we're all really tired come this time of year. It's August, and this season has been so brutal. It's been so hot. The pests have just been completely unruly, like out of control. And for us, the only way we can keep going is just to press forward. If we don't put new seeds in the ground, it's not going to grow. We love to have as much of this growing around us as possible. So I think that that is going to be a goal for us, is just to continue to maintain this year. We've also set a goal for ourselves to grow in the greenhouse over winter. So a lot coming up. We're just going to keep pressing forward. So I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'm kind of curious how you guys are feeling with your gardens. Are you calling it? Are you in avoidance? Are you pressing forward? I just want to see how you guys are doing. So as always, please drop in the comments and give us some updates. I'm curious how you're doing. And you saw our marigolds are going crazy here. So I'm kind of curious if you got any of our marigold seeds. I want to see how they're doing. So either tag us here or on Instagram whenever you post them. I love to see it. It literally just makes my day. So a lot coming up on the docket here. I will be sharing everything with you here. And so if you don't want to miss out on any of that content, make sure that you subscribe and turn those alerts on, and that way you'll be notified as soon as I post anything. But keep an eye out here and Instagram. I will make sure to share everything we've got going on. I am hoping that you guys have beautiful weather and that it is wonderful where you are as well. I'm going to soak up as much of this nice weather as I can, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And until next time, do not forget our motto here on Little V Farm: anything grows if you try. Bye guys.